Number one question I get asked: how much money do you actually make on that farm? Is it profitable? Is it worth it? Time and time again, people ask me that question. Stay with me with this video and let's answer that question.
George, what are you doing? Hi, bud. Hi, ladies. What are you doing? That's the biggest question out there for sure. You know, people want to know how much we make on this farm. So we're going to dive into it a little bit. And there's a lot more that goes into it than just money. So I want to talk about it. But we have gotten to the point, you know, this is our 4th year. You know, I'm starting to see what really works and what really doesn't. You know, the experience for my kids, but also the money that has to go into this thing. You know, is it worth it at the end of the day? Is there other ways to do things? So we're going to talk numbers a little bit. It's everybody's question. More emails and comments I get to me is about numbers and how much does it cost? How much time do I have to put into it? You know, a lot of people think it's set it and forget it, and that is just so not true. George, buddy, what are you doing? Hi, bud. So like I said, we bought the farm 4 years ago. Little over 4 years ago. And right after COVID. And we just wanted a change. We wanted our own space, our own land. You know, where our old house was, there was people building next to us. And I wanted the freedom of just having my own space. So we went looking around and we found a place like this. Now this is just under 120 acres. There's 2 buildings on it. And we got about 16,000 planted Christmas trees already. None of the structures were here. None of the barns, none of the sheds. None of that stuff was there. Just the main house and what is now the Airbnb. So you guys can figure out the math on that and what that would cost average in this area. You know, so I obviously have a mortgage and a note. So, you know, I can't afford that big bill. So, so we have that bill. That's a big one that's out there that, you know, we'll, for the next 10 years or whatever we took out is going to be there. Tells you how much hay these guys are eating. I just gave them 2 bales at the beginning of the week. Bought the existing farm. There was some equipment, but it was old. You know, for an experienced farmer, the equipment probably was fine. But I wasn't an experienced farmer, and the tractors, they just made me a little nervous. So I had to go out and buy some stuff. I want to separate a little bit because a lot of those expenses fall on me personally. Yeah, it all kind of ties together, but it falls on me personally. I'm the one that took out the loans for most of the equipment, the tractors. The only things I didn't do was like the mowers. I tried to put that through the business as much as I could. So that stuff added up. So obviously the first year was a big learning curve. What to do, what not to do. You know, we probably wasted a good amount of money. I tried to research as much as I could, but there's just so many things that happen in a farm like this. So the big note, that's a big one. The tractors, things I had to buy. Like this year coming up, I had to buy another mower because our mower really went. That's a $20,000 bill. That's probably going to come out of my pocket, not the business, because the business can't afford it. You know, this tree business is getting harder and harder to run. Not because of the work, because of just the pure how much money is people going to pay to come to the farm and buy a tree. I mean, I think that's why I added the animals. That's why I added everything. You know, to maybe give it a little extra. The only thing that we the only thing that we hire out really is the shearing of the trees. We get a company to come and do that. And, you know, that's a little over 10 grand. You know, this year was a little bit more, because I had this one person do the whole farm. And I wasn't able to do any myself because one, I'm not great at it. And like, that's the finished product, right? That's what people come to see, is that tree, and they do a super job. So that's big. I mean, I cut out a lot of fertilizer. I don't really use fertilizer anymore. And I know people that are watching this video that have a tree farm are going to say, what are you thinking? Well, you know what? I don't know what to tell you. It's too much money. We just can't afford it. So if the trees grow a little bit slower, kind of is what it is. And I also pay my father-in-law. My father-in-law has done a great job for me. Honestly, if it wasn't for him, we probably wouldn't be doing this, because I can't do this alone. To make the farm what it is. Now, the gentleman that I bought the farm from was great. He was awesome. He was in this business for a long time with his family. And when he was younger, he probably busted his ass and did a great job. Not that he didn't bust his ass when he was older, he did. But the body just couldn't handle it. And he was doing it by himself. And he knew if he didn't do something quick, then the farm would go by the wayside, because he couldn't keep up. When people come to the farm, they absolutely love it. They say how nice it is. Everything's kept up. It's beautiful. The selling shed that we added, like, everybody says the farm is awesome, which is great. I love that. Now, I could just hot posh it and mow a couple times a year, and it wouldn't look as nice. Are people still going to come and pay that money for a tree? I don't know. Do people come for the animals because they like that experience while getting a tree, the free hot chocolate, the fire, the camaraderie of the family running around and stuff? I think people like all that stuff. You know, but if you add in everything, and even my land use, like, which is in this like state program, you know, I get a little, like 30% off my taxes to have it in land use. You know, well, my taxes are still, you know, close to 15 grand. So you got 15 grand there. You got your trees, the shearing of the trees, which is anywhere really, to be honest with you, between 10 to 15 grand. And then, you know, you add up all the gas and all that stuff, which I don't really keep track of that stuff as much as I should. And I do pay Billy. I pay my father-in-law, you know, so he gets paid on the farm, and then who knows, when stuff breaks and he can't fix it or I can't fix it, you know, we got to hire that too. So that's just some of the things. There's more to come. That's just some of the things. And then there's the tree plants themselves. You know, every spring we get, you know, anywhere from, 4,000 to 2,000 trees a year. Little plants, 2x2s they call them. They're technically 4-year-olds. There's two years in the nursery, 2 more years in the ground. They come to me about a foot tall. When I first took over the farm, you know, those 2x2s were 50 to 75 cents each. I'm now paying $1.50 per tree. So there you go. Add that up. And I have to get them shipped because the local people, which I would love to say their name, but I'm not going to bash the business, but they're very well known in this in Vermont as for their plants, are a terrible company to work with. So I stopped using them. So I have to get them shipped here. You know, it's $600 in shipping alone. That's another expense. So add that up. You know, and insurance doesn't stop going through the roof. You know, that just keeps going up and up. That's between 6 and 10 grand a year. Every time I redo it, it goes up. So that's another expense. What else we got out there? There's just a lot of things, you know, for the weekend, people working. There's just a lot. And there's probably a lot more in maintenance and stuff breaking. But I don't do a great job with keeping track of that, which I got to this year. Because this year I'm going to be much better at that. Well, chicken's got a little run. And I just noticed there was like 8 eggs in there. So they're actually starting to lay again. Now that the days are getting a little bit longer, they're starting to lay again. So I got to keep track of that, stay on. But let's shift gears now. Let me tell you what my plan is and what I'm thinking about doing this year. I can't keep going at this rate. Not physically. It's just the money and the experience for the kids and the family. You know, actually, let's talk about that for a second. Not to get way off track here. You know, my side of my family is not the closest. There's nothing wrong with that, really. It's just they're not, you know, a close-knit family. Everyone loves each other. Everyone talks to each other every now and then, but it's not a, you know, get together every Christmas type deal. Now, me and my cousins, in my opinion, have really, you know, kept everyone talking for a little bit, which is great. And that's not a knock on anybody, by the way, because people watch my channel, I'm sure. But you know, I think like the cousins have really kept the family kind of close. You know, my cousin actually bought this farm with me. I've done other business stuff with him. He has nothing to do with the farm. He's just a partner with me. And he comes up with his family and stuff, and it's great. You know, so that was one of the reasons I feel like, and he probably wouldn't admit that, but that was one of the reasons I feel like, you know, we bought the farm as well. Because it kind of gave everybody, you know, we used to do Thanksgiving at my grandmother's, my nanny's, and hi, Nan, she's still alive. I don't know if she still watches, but, and that all kind of fell apart. That kind of stopped happening. So everyone comes up here. You know, they used to. Last year, they really didn't as much family feuding or something stupid that, you know, people are going to regret, but whatever. So, but we still had a good crew here, and cousins come, they get together, and it's awesome. My wife's, you know, really good friends with one of my close cousins. And it's great. So that was one of the reasons I felt like we did it too, is to keep the family together, keep my kids outside a little bit. Christmas tree season is a time where they know that Black Friday, it's time to get ready, get your snow pants out, and they better be out there between 7 and 8 o'clock. And they're not stopping until, you know, it's dark. And they do it, and they do very, very well. We're getting to the point now where the prices are just getting so out of control. I feel like there might be a better way to do it. Kind of have the best of both worlds. So let's dive into that. You know, I got to the point where I have a buddy up the road. He just started a farm. And it's a big farm. We were kind of talking at one point. I kind of threw a number at him that this farm it's really anywhere from 50 to 80 grand that it cost me to run this farm. I know that sounds high and that sounds a little crazy, but it's kind of the truth. Anyone that says anything different is not telling the truth. And I don't even use fertilizer. I don't even use some of the stuff that makes it expensive. Part of me feels like it's doing business in Vermont where we live. You know, they really are pushing out people like me, and they want second homeowners. They want people with big money to come in here, and that's what they want. It's not working, so eventually they'll figure that out. But so it was kind of shocking to him. You know, he didn't say it then, but then he text messaged me a couple days later. He's like, "Is that number real?" So I started diving into it a little bit, and it is real, and it's scary because as much as I want to give this experience for my family and stuff, I can't go broke doing it. I love the animals. The animals comes out of my pocket, and I absolutely love doing the animals. It's rewarding. There's something about it. I just absolutely love it. And again, that stuff pays off a little bit, I guess, because, you know, last year we really didn't pay a lot for steak and meat and pork. And then next year is going to be even better with pork. We're going to have 5 of them, and we'll only sell probably 3, and the rest we'll cut up. So my thought is for next year is to maybe looking at doing a little more wholesale tree. We did wholesale this past year, and it went really well. It was, you know, one weekend, you know, knocking down a bunch of trees, and they come, they pick it up, we help them load it, and it's done. I'm just kind of thinking out loud. You know, right now I'm open almost every weekend after Thanksgiving, even during the week when I'm only getting 9 trees. Then people are coming the week before Christmas and complaining to me because I'm not open, or, geez, I don't have that 11-foot perfect tree. Well, I'm sorry. There's been, you know, thousands of people before you that took that tree. Sorry. So the headache of that, you know, just the headache of coming out here and being open on a Tuesday for 5 trees, is it worth it? I don't know. You know, can I ship some trees down to Florida where I spend some time and get a lot out there, and they'll pay. They'll pay for a tree. They'll pay $200 for a tree. Here, I get people complaining to me for $70 a tree, even though the guy right down the road is $100. plus, 100 plus. Is it worth it? I don't know. I've been going back and forth on it, and I think we're going to change things up next year. I think it's going to be a different experience where I can have the best of both worlds. So I guess when it's all said and done, some changes won't be a bad thing. It'll make this place a little bit more efficient, help ease the burden of the people that help me. I can only lean on these people so much, and I do take care of them, but I don't know. Everyone's getting a pinch older and, you know, a little bit tired. I guess at the end of the day, people are probably like, well, Matt, why are you doing this? If you're making no money, you know, what are you doing? Now, we do make a little bit of money. The deal that I have, you know, with my cousin is hopefully the business pays for the mortgage. So, you know, me and my family don't have a mortgage to pay. But to be honest with you, usually by the end of the year or before Christmas tree season, you know, the money runs out. So I usually end up, you know, having to pay a couple months. But, you know, so do I do it more for the experience? I don't know. Do I think this thing will even grow even more? I do. I think what my plan is, I think that I can be much more efficient. And I could start shearing some trees too. I mean, I really could start doing that. So I don't know. We'll play with some things. Who knows? You know, it's middle of February. I got a good amount of time before I change my mind a couple times and do something totally different. So it's kind of my plan. Listen, wanted to give you guys something. People have been asking. People wanted to know some numbers, so I'm giving you some very simple numbers. Hope you like this video. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or, you know, comment below. Definitely, you know, keep growing the channel as much as we can. You know, subscribe, share the videos. Hopefully you guys like the content, and see you in the next one.